If you're watching this video, there's a high chance you're using a Windows operating system, but other than Clippy or Ponzi Buddy, there hasn't been any real mascot to represent Microsoft's brand, or most operating system brands in general. Around 2003 and throughout the 2000s, people on the Japanese image board 2chan, specifically on the 2D board, would create anime girl mascots to represent many of the various Windows operating systems that existed at the time, as well as some characters from other operating systems. They are broadly referred to as OS Tan, Tan being a more playful suffix for Chan. Over the years, these characters have spread around and become popular, but some other ones were less remembered. The characters were used in many Flash animations and fan creations, and it spawned its own minor subculture for the time. The beginnings of the OS Tan character starts in the Windows XP era. Mi Tan was the first of the OS Tans to be created sometime in the summer of 2003. Windows Millennium Edition was known to be an unstable operating system, and the character was made to represent that. She is depicted as a clumsy maid who tries hard but can't quite get the job done. Around her neck is an error sign insignia, and she often freezes up during important moments. She is often seen carrying around neggies or onions, which are a pun for a program called Negius, which was a freeware firewall Japanese program for the time. Her color is based on the Millennium Edition logo and desktop. After Mitan, the users of the 2D or Nijura board would create an entire fictional universe called Troubled Windows, where all of these characters were related, and many more characters would appear based on prior operating systems. Most characters have a signature design that represents them based on popularity when they were created. There are also some evil characters, such as an old man caricature for Norton Antivirus who was a bit too invasive. Some other antivirus software got characters as well, such as McAfee and Trend Microvirus Buster. 95 Tan is a character that represents Windows 95. Her design is based on older time period Japanese fashion and culture, as Windows 95 was considered the beginning of the modern OS, and at the time of her creation, an old OS. Her kimono design is based off a Windows 95 Japanese exclusive wallpaper called Hanami.bim, or also known as Hana256.bim. Artists like to draw her wearing glasses a lot and using a katana as a weapon, which... Windows 98 has two primary versions, those being the original and later released Windows 98 Service Pack 2. These systems are represented by the sisters 98 and 98 SE Tan. 98 Tan's normal form is supposed to look like Vulcan 300 from Zatchbell, but she also has a girl form as well. SE Tan apparently really likes pro wrestling, so hell yeah. Tsuke Tan, also pronounced Nikkei Tan, is the name of the next character designed for Windows 2000. Her personality is calm and sophisticated, and this reflects in her design, but due to Windows 2000 having the new NT kernel, it was seen as much more reliable in comparison to Windows ME. Windows 2000 was also designed for business use as well, so a more serious, dependable character made sense. Her colorway is based on the color blue, and the Windows 2000 default wallpaper. But you know, she also has cat ears and a maid band, and there's lots of depictions of her as this blue cat guy, so yeah. She's also often drawn with lots of mecha-style weapons and attire. Windows XP has two different characters for the Professional Edition of Windows XP and the Home Edition. XP Tan's signature style is an XP-shaped hair ribbon and a blue and white dress. When Windows XP first released, the perception by many was that it was a bloated OS that required too much RAM, so early depictions of XP Tan are shown as overweight and eating a lot. There was a loosely held rule that the more RAM an OS would use, the larger the breasts would be for the character, so she was larger for that reason as well. Over time though, this negative perception would fade, and XP would gain its respect as one of the best operating systems, so she would be shown in a much more positive light and become popular in the West as well. She's also shown to be friends with the program Trend Microvirus Buster, or just Buster in some art. XP Home Tan, however, was a little different. She has a green color palette and was designed to fit a more nerdy, degenerate role. Her design was created sometime in 2005. NT Tan is one of the lesser known variants based on Windows NT 4.0, which is the predecessor to Windows 2000. She is usually referred to as NT Mama due to her mother-like appearance. There are a few variants of her though, such as the dog form due to NT sounding a bit like Inu T, Inu meaning dog in Japanese. Her design is based around the color purple. Windows 3.0 was the version released after Windows 3.0 and was a very popular system. 3.1 Tan has a gothic Lolita design but has the personality of an old woman. Her colorway is also purple and she has a cat called Da. She wears a 3.1 ribbon decoration on her chest and is often seen around 95 Tan and NT Mama. Windows CE was used a lot for pocket-sized computers. CE Tan's design is a small fairy with wings. She has orange hair and commonly wears a nurse outfit. Out of all the mainline releases, Vista was a highly controversial OS. The design for Vista Tan was also controversial as there was never an agreed upon design. Vista was announced in 2005 and was the newest OS at the time these characters were created. There was a large amount of different designs being created, some being before Vista was released and some after. Most of the designs before were animal based as Vista's code name was Longhorn, but the two most popular designs were these two, one being more similar to XP Tan and the other one being different with white hair and darker skin. Other operating systems would get designs too, such as MS-DOS Tan, Windows 97 Tan, Mac OS 9 Tan, and Linux Tan. These were minor but still appeared in art and webcomics. Windows 97 Tan is interesting because Windows 97 is not a real operating system. There are a lot of minor versions based on a plethora of operating systems such as Windows Server 2003 Tan, 1.0 Tan, 2.0 Tan, XP Media Center Tan, and fuck, we haven't even gotten to the Mac variants, but the most popular ones are the ones for the main Windows releases. Starting with Windows 7, this would begin the era of the official OS Tans created by companies associated with Microsoft in Eastern Asia. Windows 7 Tan was named Nanami Madobe and created in late 2009 by the artist Wakaba. Kappa. There are quite a bit of official items released around her, such as CDs and Windows themes. They created 7,777 copies of Windows with a special Nanami theme. A year later, when Windows 7 Ultimate Edition released, a full commercial featuring her as well as a special character song would be released with 77,777 copies made. A similar thing would happen with the release of Windows 8 in 2012, with the characters U.N Madobe, with official items being created. Toku Madobe was the character released for Windows 10, and she's quite popular, and also they're all related, but